Alrighty, today is Monday, July 10th of 2023. We made it up to Toronto. We're up in the CN Tower. Very cool place. Looking out over downtown Toronto. This reminds me greatly of being up in the Sears Tower in Chicago and looking out and seeing the skyline, and the city is by a lake. They're actually very similar in size, the two cities are. But that's looking further north. That would be up into the suburbs. Lots of construction going on. It is quite a cool skyline. I moved a little bit further around the tower. It is, of course, a round observation deck. They do have a restaurant up here, but it's pretty expensive to go to. So we just chose not to do that. All right, going a little further around the tower. You can see major railroads coming in to the city. It's a major rail center, much like Chicago is. There's a stadium down there. I'm not quite sure what sport they play there. Maybe soccer? I'm not quite sure. But we did come in on that freeway. That's how we will be leaving. Traffic was pretty heavy. This isn't the easiest town to drive in. It's a little bit confusing and pretty heavy traffic, but we're getting a good sight in. This is looking out over the shores of Lake Ontario. Across the shores, clear across the lake, out there would be the state of New York. They do have a landing strip or a small airport right in the city. The bigger airport is much further out. But right in the islands here, they do have an airport. We are going to be taking a boat cruise out there a little later on today. And then also, the CN Tower, it happens to sit right next to what is now called the Rogers Center. Back in 1989 when it opened, it was known as the Sky Dome, and I believe it was the first retractable roof stadium in the world. I thought this was kind of a cool spot because you can see the shadow of the CN Tower on the ground below. Pretty cool to look at. The roof is closed today. I don't think they have a game going on later today. Come over to the east side of the tower. The windows are a little more tinted here, I think, to protect from the bright sun early in the morning. But again, there's another shot of that airport and the islands. Bet it costs quite a bit of money to live out there. More of the islands out there and the lake in the distance. This morning, before we climbed up here, we went down and visited a little bit of that area down in there. It's a little hard to see, but there is an old rail yard down there. Shows Toronto's rail history. Again, the glass is a little more tinted on this side, but I wanted to get a shot of some of those skyscrapers that are down there. They have a nice skyline here. One thing I did notice, though, is a lot of the buildings tend to have kind of the same look to them. I wish they'd kind of mix it up, have a little bit more variety, but there's still some very pretty and very impressive buildings. A little bit more around the tower. You can see more of the rail lines going right through the city. In the background, they're playing Bryan Adams, Summer of '69, very famous Canadian artist. I think when we were up here earlier, I could hear Nickelback. This is another Canadian group. Really like some of these buildings. You can tell some of them are more of the 60s and 70s style, the square boxy type of buildings, but then they've tried to mix some stuff up with some of the newer buildings. It is a cool skyline. It really is. It has some really pretty buildings. And I've come back to pretty much the place I started. This would be looking, I believe, northward. Is how it would work. I'm going to go down one level. They have a spot where you can stand on glass and look down at the city below. I want to get that filmed as well. All right, we went down another level, and they have been doing some construction here, but they do have their glass observation working. We went out on it earlier. Oh boy, that's quite a drop if you go down there. Pretty cool. Little kids are up here having a good time, daring to go out. giant aquarium beneath us down there. And I'm out on the glass bottom of the observation deck. You're looking down, there's Rogers Center, where the Toronto Blue Jays play. All right, we did make it to Toronto and the CN Tower. It's Monday, July the 10th of 2023. That's the entranceway. Actually, we went in and did the tour, and then we ended the tour and came on out here, and I decided to film where we went. We rode an elevator clear up there. It had a partial glass bottom so you could see us going up. It was very, very cool. There is the top of the tower. The very, very tip top is over 1,800 feet tall. There's a point above it, above the observation deck there. But it's not really a true skyscraper, but it is a very tall structure, I guess you could say. Very good experience. Okay, we got a good outside view of the tower. We went up in those little pod things, those little elevators that you see. They were cool. There's looking up at the tip top. I believe altogether it's a little over 1,800 feet tall. Great visit, had a good time here today.